So this is something that I've been wanting to talk about for a very long time. And I've only really understood the concept of this within this past 2 years of my development that I've been going through. And that is misogyny. I take misogyny very seriously, and I think that women should be treated with respect. They shouldn't be treated like objects. They shouldn't be sexualized. I know. Like, and like to say something like this is crazy to me. The fact that like we have to even say this to begin with because they can't be even treated as human beings blows my mind. Absolutely just fucking blows my mind. Like we this is just like the bullshit, right? That men do. It's just it. And I will genuinely admit, I'm not going to be a person here that's going to be just, I was never misogynistic. I was misogynistic. And I will genuinely admit, I am branching and breaking away from misogyny. And I have been for a while now. There are still some things that I might say from time to time, like the B word and stuff like that, because I don't like using the B word. It's misogynistic. I don't like it. And you're going to hear me say misogynistic a lot because it's a big fucking deal. But yeah, like, I have tendencies to say, like, like the B word, or calling somebody, the P word, as in like a form of like, oh, this, like, usually when somebody says that, or says that, they like mean like, oh, you're weak, or you're a coward and stuff like that. But it's a woman's part, right? It's a woman's body part to be shown as a way to say that somebody's weak. And that's like, it was just like, oh, you're talking about a cat or something. No. It's like saying like the old term of like, oh, like, stop being such a fucking girl. Why is being a girl a bad thing? I don't know. It fucking blows my mind. But anyways, I'm just going on this like little side tangent because this actually just generally fucking pisses me off. Just misogyny, and it doesn't even have to be extreme cases. In my view of it, that there's two ways to view it. There's passive misogyny and active misogyny. Active misogyny is way easier to identify. It's stuff that's like, okay, you can see it and you don't have to make any context clues in order to identify it, right? Like somebody, sexually harassing a woman, or somebody making a comment about their like a woman's weight and stuff like that, and like, or saying like that they should get back in the kitchen or some shit like that. That's active misogyny. That's how I view it. And then there's passive misogyny, and then you wouldn't view this as misogyny if you're a man that's in that masculine culture, that toxic masculine culture of like, oh, treating women with respect and like. But here's the thing though, right? Because men, are a lot more calculated. A lot more calculated than they try to seem to be, right? Like, there's the, misogyny, the active misogyny of, for example, oh, like this man is treating this woman like shit, either harassing her or saying that they can't do something because they're a woman, or treating them differently because they're a woman and stuff like that. Like, you would be able to identify that easily. But then there's passive misogyny in this example where they're being very, very nice to a woman, right? And you think, oh yeah, he's just treating her with respect and stuff like that. This is where ulterior motive comes in, right? This is where ulterior motive comes in. They start treating her nicely, they want to be around her often, right? You can have like a group of people, like in a group of guys, and then there's like one woman in the group. You'll notice that out of the entire group, that the group of men will flock around the woman and make her the center. There's a reason for that. And that is because they want to gain the interest of the woman, and in the future they possibly want to be with them, sleep with them, fuck them. And you can be like, oh yeah, like they're just friends and stuff like that. I'm gonna be genuinely fucking real with you right now. Years ago, right? Years ago, I had this friend group, right? And I'm not like really into like big groups and stuff like that. I don't have a big friend group anymore. But I used to have this big friend group, and I shit you not, they would flock around this one woman in this group like she's like a fucking animal exhibit, and literally would just always engage with her and stuff like that. And I'm not even being jealous either, because it's not like even a competition. That's also a thing with men, is that they try to make it a competition. They try to make it a sense of dominance and power and like conquest and stuff like that. They have to be the first one to win the woman or whatever, like she's like some sort of fucking prize and shit. I've seen it years ago when I was in this friend group and stuff like that, where they would centralize themselves around the woman, right? It's because that they have ulterior motives. They want to get close with them. They're all competing. And mind you, at this time, I'm just doing my own fucking thing in the corner, probably on my phone, because I'm socially fucking awkward, right? But these people will flock around a woman and try to be nice to her, compete with one another to try to see who can get with the woman first. And if somebody else succeeds, right, they're still going to be pressing onto that woman, right? Because if that one guy fucks up or something like that, or does something, and the woman doesn't have any interest in that one guy that AK won the girl over, right? He'll think of himself as like a backup, being like, oh yeah, and like, oh, I'm so sorry he did that to you, or like, oh, I'm sorry you're not friends with him anymore, I'm here for you, and stuff like that. They're not being supportive. They're not being supportive. It's a lie. It's a lie. It's because they think of themselves as a runner-up, so when somebody else fucks up, it's their turn to take in and claim that woman as their own. It's so fucking... It pisses me the fuck off. It generally does. I see it at my work. I see it out in public and stuff like that. I see it on... Oh, God. You know what's a very prominent place to see this kind of shit? Video games. In my previous video, I've said that I took a break from video games. That I haven't been playing video games for actually over a month now. And I've noticed this as being a person that has been addicted to video games for a long time, and have seen people in online multiplayer games communicating and talking. The dynamic of the lobby or the group shifts when there's a woman that joins, right? All the guys, right, will just be, chilling out or having fun, but as soon as a woman joins or gets involved, right, they stop. They stop putting all that attention on each other and start putting it on the woman. They seem like, oh, there's either the, oh my God, there's a woman here, get that, fucking B word out of here. Or they're like, oh, hey, how's it going? Like, they completely change their mood because they have like a whole demeanor change and a whole personality change. They want to leave a good first impression for the woman. So they seem as a person that, that they're genuine and authentic and stuff like that. And they all start shifting that and start being nice towards the woman, right? And mind you, before she joined, they were cutting each other off and stuff like that, not giving each other the opportunity to talk. But as soon as the woman joins the game, or joins the lobby, or joins in general, and they hear her talk, they all go silent. Their whole behavior changed. Instead of, being rude asses and cutting each other off, now they're being nice. They're being attentive. They're allowing her to speak because she's a woman. And why that is because they're being nice, because it's passive misogyny. It's manipulation. They're trying to win her over the moment that she tries to join. It's pathetic. It's genuinely pathetic, and I've seen it. And then there's guys that won't actively engage with the girl or the woman, and will try to act all mysterious and edgy and shit. I've seen that too. They'd be like, yeah, like that, that croaky frog voice, that men do online and stuff like that to make their voice sound deeper pitched. I don't know why they think they find that, they think that women find that attractive, because most women don't give a fuck about that. But for some reason they think that oh yeah, I'm an alpha male and shit, so I'm gonna start, making my voice croaky and deep pitch and shit. Well, start doing that, right? And start acting mysterious and dismissive and stuff like that. It's just, maybe I don't know. I don't even know where to put a foundation on this because of how big of an issue misogyny is. But it's everywhere. Very prominent in video games. And men will be surprised when women play video games for some reason, as if it's not something that's common. Because, believe it or not, women make up almost, a little bit less, but almost 50% of the gaming community. I think it's 52, 53% men and 47, 48% women. Yeah, there's a little bit more men, but people think that video games is dominated by men. There's a lot of women that play video games. A lot of women that play video games. If we were talking about when video games first started out, back, way in the 80s and stuff like that, and 70s and stuff like that, early video games, late 70s, early 80s, early video games, yeah, it was men, right? But as that shifted over time, it's balanced out to where it's more of a 50-50. There's a fuck ton of people that play video games, and there's a fuck ton of women that play video games. So they'll act surprised as if, a woman is a rare oddity to encounter on video games, which is weird. But I think my main topic here is that I think, as I've gone through, development and stuff like that, I've reduced my misogyny. I want women to be treated as equals. I want women to be not treated as objects. I want women to have equal rights and equal opportunity. Because, let me get into that, right? Equal rights and equal opportunity, right? There's some toxic men out there that will think, women have more privilege than us. They don't have to do whatever. We have to carry the burden of whatever, et cetera, right? They basically saying that men have more responsibility than women, right? Let's think of a very, very prominent example of women not being equal to men, even in a systemic law, right? Let's bring up the amendments, right? One of the amendments is for women having the right to vote. And this is an amendment that's later on. This is not an early amendment. This is like one of the amendments going further down the line. But women having the right to vote make this argument, right? We shouldn't even have an amendment for just a person to have the right to vote. They should just already have it. But we have to have a protection of an amendment just for women to have the right to vote. Is that not a clear example? They should just already have the right to vote, but they didn't because men were always in power. And they still in power because we live in a patriarchy. And yes, more women are getting in more powerful positions, and I think that's good for the economy. I think people that are different, like with diversity and different ethnicities and different culture backgrounds, having more power and stuff like that gives them more variety to society and actually ultimately helps society instead of it just being a white male. I think it actually does good for the economy and stuff like that. But with misogyny and stuff like that, here's another thing that men don't have to worry about. They actually have more privileges than women. And this is going to be a very sensitive topic right here. If you have any trauma triggers, if you're a woman and you have any trauma triggers of men doing inappropriate things to you, I best that you try to skip this part as much as possible. Because I'm trying to be mindful. Men don't have to worry about going out late at night and worrying about being molested, being raped, far less likely being kidnapped. It's not a law that gives them more privilege, but it's a societal thing that gives them more privilege. They have more safety. They can go out in public at any time of day, especially at nighttime, and not have to worry about those things. It's very, very unlikely. But yet women can't go out at night by themselves without having the probable risk of being raped, molested, kidnapped, and other things. Men don't have to worry about really, like, and this is the thing, though. This is the thing with toxic masculinity. Men don't really have to worry about their appearance. And you might think, oh yeah, we do. We have to be like all fucking muscular and shit. You know what I saw? I saw an interview of a man interviewing women from the 1960s of what like the preferable man is. It's actually quite surprising. It's not like just always big and muscular. Women are actually very, very put off by very muscular, masculine men. A majority of them are. A majority of them don't try to define them by their physical appearance, but their sense of character and personality. But as this is going towards what I said previously with men don't nearly have to worry about that stuff than women do. Because women are fantasized way more than men. Way fucking more than men. They have to be slim or, have wide hips and massive breasts and a big butt and things like that. And you can say, oh, but men, like I said previously, men have to be jacked. They have to have like affordable income and stuff like that. Like they have to have like not affordable income, but like they have to have like make like over six figures. They have to make like they have to be a surgeon. They have to be like $200,000 a year, $300,000 a year, right? This is the best prominent example, right? My girlfriend. I love her to pieces. I love her for everything that she is. She is not with me because of my masculinity. In fact, quite the opposite, actually. Quite the opposite. She's not with me because I make a lot of money. In fact, she makes more money than me. She makes more money than me. Way more money than me. She's with me for who I am as a person. As my character. And not by these, super jacked, muscular man who makes, like, a highly jacked, muscular man who makes, like, fucking 6 figures and stuff. Of course I want to make 6 figures, like, for myself, and to support my family, of course, which is with her, right? But that's not why she's with me. She's with me because she loves me for who I am. That's the difference. Is that with men, they want to be with a woman because they want to see what they can get from them. They're a tool. They're an asset. They're a sex thing to them. Whereas with a woman, they want to be with a man for their sense of personality and character, and their emotions, and their vulnerability, and their authenticity. Which is, mind you, even in today's age, very hard to find. I'm sitting here silent because I'm just even processing this myself. It's just, men can't even love a woman without even expecting something in return, getting something out of them, using them. And to say that, like, it's all men, it's a very, very small minority that doesn't do that. But I would say the vast global majority, because of, obviously I also think, generational trauma and, like, traditional stuff that's been brainwashed from our, parents and their parents, and it being passed down all to us as well. Mind you, here's the thing with men, right? Men can change, but it has to start with women. Women need to set the precedent that they're not going to be treated like shit anymore, that they're not going to be treated like objects, and men can follow that and be influenced by like that, maybe I shouldn't do those things, right? And this is completely unedited, by the way. Like, there is, like, no structure with what I'm saying. I don't, like, have any script or anything like that. This is just going as I'm thinking as I'm going. So, but men can change. It'll take a long fucking time. It's not going to happen, probably, realistically speaking, like drastic changes, but I think positive changes are happening because a lot of women, especially, take for example not North Korea. Ooh, that's the wrong one. Ooh, that's a completely different country. South Korea, right? That movement, right? The women in South Korea are making a stand for themselves, and they're not going to take men's shit anymore because of how toxic the culture is for women in South Korea. I think more, like, there are some women, I would say a lot of women, that are still in the dark about this stuff. And there's a lot of women. Unfortunately, it's not just men that contribute to this problem too. It's also women too. Not all women. It's unfortunately like the women like that make OnlyFans. The ones that make porn videos. The ones that desperately centralize their way of life around men. That also contribute to the problem. It's not just men. It's also women too. But majority men. Majority men. Women contribute to it too. Like the ones, especially on gaming, right? There's like, and I think it also deals with, like, the patriarchy, and like I can give them a little bit of understanding, right? With, yeah, like they probably have very low self-esteem because of like, patriarchy and stuff like that, and having to feel validated through men and stuff like that. Like that stuff can be changed, right? So I can give those women a bit, they can realize in that moment and change, right? Probably way faster than men. They just need to realize it. And like I said, generational trauma with, parents, stuff like that, passing it on to their child and next generation, so forth. Of like what it is to be a woman. But what it is to be a woman in those traditional means was made by a man. To, have to, be a certain size and always try to please a man and all this other stuff. Like, it's manipulation. But it also goes on the man's side as well, right? Men are, in everyday life, young men, like me, Gen Z, are manipulated through media, like porn and stuff like that, and other toxic masculinity culture, like, right? Because, like, take for example, some algorithms on social media can actually identify your gender based off of what you watch. So if the algorithm knows that you're a man, it'll start recommending you some stuff that's misogynistic. It'll start recommending, it can be passive and or active misogyny. It doesn't have to be like always super sexual stuff, no. But it can be stuff like like gender roles and stuff like that. I don't like gender roles. I don't. I think, like, to be a protector and stuff like that, like, yes, of course, like, for a man, like, whatever, right? But I also want, I want both people, like, in a relationship, to protect each other. It's mutual, right? And be caring and loving towards each other, and, it's just, God, it's just so much to talk about. It's just so much to talk about. I don't even know. But anyways, I could go on for this for very long periods of time. But I don't think I'd be able to fit this within a reasonable time. I just hate misogyny. It needs to change. And unfortunately, I don't think drastic changes won't change in my lifetime. Unless baby boomers and Gen X no longer exist. Not saying like eradicate them or anything like that. Fuck no. I'm saying like, you know, as the years pass by, you know, like they're just not there anymore. But even that wouldn't work either, because a lot of Gen Z people, I've noticed that they are very much like Gen X. Misogynistic, egotistical assholes. Millennials are not like their parents, like the baby boomers at all. Millennials, I think, was like the first generation to really deviate from the traditional norms and try to stand up and try for change, right? There's still some Gen Z that do that, but I'd say a majority of Gen Z is like Gen X. Because that was their parents. And a lot of them are entitled assholes. Misogynistic. Unempathetic. Millennials, though, I think a majority of them are, you know, trying for change. But Gen X and Gen Z are very much alike. But anyways, yeah, this video is getting too long. I just wanted to rant about this, and I know it's like going into, you know, random stuff, and it doesn't have like a good sense of structure in my videos and stuff like that. But I want to keep it real. I want to keep it absolutely unedited, no script, just saying how I feel. That's it. And if I might be redundant, I might repeat things, but I want to keep it real. I want to keep it absolutely real. Even there, I fucked up the word real. Like, I didn't even say it right. Like, I stuttered a bit. I was like, real. But I'm going to keep it in. So, but yeah. That is my, well, a little bit of how I view misogyny and stuff like that. And whoever is watching this, I appreciate that you watch this. If you're a man, woman, whoever you are, whatever you identify as. What the shit? There's a fly there. But, yeah. Thank you for watching.